Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something incredibly tough. One of the most emotionally charged situations, really, that any of us might face. Making those huge end-of-life decisions for someone we love. If you've ever been there, caught in that, that whirlwind of confusion, frustration, but also that deep, deep love that makes you want to fight for your family member, you know just how hard this is.
It's overwhelming, truly.
Yeah. So we're diving into a specific scenario today. Picture this. A daughter. She's trying to process a hospice recommendation for her dad. She feels like the doctors are, well, giving up, but she truly believes he has more life left in him.
Right. A very common feeling.
Exactly. Our mission here is to give you maybe a new way to look at it, some real tools, and just a way to recenter these incredibly difficult conversations so the outcome, really honors your loved one. Okay, let's unpack this.
What's fascinating here is how clearly the situation shows a gap, a really common disconnect we see. It's the difference in goals. Often the family is focused on getting more time, understandably. But the medical team's goal might have shifted, maybe subtly, towards ensuring the highest possible quality of life for whatever time is left.
Okay, time versus quality.
Precisely. And that first conversation, it often gets framed really unhelpfully as this binary choice. You either fight or you give up. So when hospice gets mentioned, it can absolutely land like surrender. And that's just incredibly painful for families to hear.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Our goal in this deep dive is really to explore how we can replace that really limiting framework with a more powerful central question.
That fight versus give up idea, it really does feel like a trap, doesn't it?
It does.
Like you said, mentioning hospice sounds like surrender.
Yeah.
So how do we even start to shift that mindset, especially when emotions are just, running so incredibly high?
Exactly. And that's the core of it. The first step is to consciously replace that limiting frame with a new central question. And that question is, what are our goals for Dad's life right now?
Okay, not fighting or giving up, but goals. Right now.
Right. This isn't about winning or losing some battle. It's about values.
Yeah.
What truly matters. To get to the heart of this, you really need to understand what a good day actually looks like for your father.
A good day. What does that mean, practically?
Well, what does he value most? Is it being mentally sharp? Is it maybe enjoying a favorite meal without feeling sick? Watching his favorite show without pain? Or maybe it's simpler just being at home with family around.
So really focusing on what matters to him today. Not just, clocking more time at any possible cost.
Precisely.
But what else goes into defining these goals of care? Beyond just a good day, what else should we be thinking about or asking?
That's a great question. It's also really crucial to understand what he's willing to endure for that possibility of more time.
The trade-offs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is he willing to spend weeks, maybe months in a hospital, feeling sick from chemo, perhaps for maybe a small chance of a few more months? Or would he actually rather have fewer days, but more comfortable ones, at home? And think about his biggest fears. What are they? Is it pain? Is it feeling like a burden? Is it maybe dying in a hospital setting? The answers to these questions, they truly form the foundation of what we call goals of care.
Yeah.
And the medical decisions. They should really flow from these goals, not the other way around.
That's a really profound shift. Decisions flowing from his values, not just what medicine can do. You mentioned earlier that the word hospice itself is maybe one of the biggest misunderstandings out there in modern medicine.
Oh, absolutely.
Most people hear it and immediately think giving up, or they picture like a specific building you go to. Can you just break down what it actually is beyond those common ideas?
Yeah, definitely. It's so often misunderstood. People think it's a place, or it means the absolute end is here right now. But really, it's a philosophy of care. And it's a whole set of services designed around that philosophy.
A philosophy. Okay. What's the core idea then?
Its primary goal is simply to maximize the quality of life for a person who has a life-limiting illness. Think of it as expert-level symptom management, pain, nausea, breathing issues delivered wherever the patient calls home.
Okay, so it's not a physical place necessarily. It's more a shift in focus towards comfort, towards quality of life. What does that actually look like day to day for a patient and their family?
Well, hospice teams, they are really the world's leading experts in managing those difficult symptoms. Pain, nausea, shortness of breath, anxiety, you name it.
Right.
They focus entirely on making the patient feel as good as possible, which, yes, might mean stopping some aggressive treatments, not because those treatments aren't working on the disease anymore, perhaps, but because their side effects are just destroying the patient's quality of life right now. And here's the thing that surprises people, the counterintuitive truth. For many people, starting hospice isn't giving up at all. It's actually unlocking a path to more time sometimes, and almost always better quality time.
Wait, more time? How does that work?
Some patients actually do live longer on hospice, precisely because their bodies aren't being constantly ravaged by really difficult symptoms or, toxic treatments anymore. They get relief, they feel better, maybe they eat better, they rest better.
Wow, that's a really powerful idea. And you mentioned it's not just about symptoms. What about the home-based care aspect we often hear about?
Exactly. The vast majority of hospice care, it's delivered right in the patient's own home, or wherever they call home. Could be assisted living, for instance.
Okay.
You get a dedicated team, usually a nurse, a social worker, a home health aide, maybe a spiritual counselor if that's something the patient wants.
Right.
They visit regularly.
So they come to you?
Yes, which allows your loved one to stay in a comfortable, familiar environment surrounded by the people and things they know and love, which is huge.
That sounds incredibly supportive. And does that support extend just to the patient? Because the family is often going through just as much, right?
Oh, absolutely. Crucial point. Hospice is not just for the patient. It is very much for the entire family. That social worker. They help with emotional support, navigating complex planning, practical things. The nurses, they don't just provide care, they teach you, the family, how to provide care confidently.
That empowerment piece.
Yes. And counselors can help you and your family process all that anticipatory grief you're feeling. It really means you are not alone in this incredibly difficult journey. The focus shifts, you see, from chasing a cure at absolutely any cost to cherishing the life that's here right now with dignity and comfort. It doesn't mean life is suddenly over, it just means the goal has changed, making every day the best day it can possibly be.
Right.
Patients on hospice, they still celebrate birthdays, they watch movies, they spend precious time with grandkids, and importantly, they can revoke hospice anytime if their condition happens to improve or if they decide they want to try a new treatment that comes along. It's not a one-way street.
That's so important to know. Okay, so putting it all together, when a medical team suggests hospice, they aren't necessarily saying, we're done with your dad.
Right.
Yeah.
Not usually, no.
They're much more likely saying something like, look, we believe the burdens of continuing curative treatment now probably outweigh the potential benefits. And we have this other tool, hospice, that can provide a different kind of care, a more compassionate kind focused on his comfort right now.
That's often exactly the message, yes.
Okay, feeling powerless in this situation is just agonizing. So let's try to turn that feeling into action. Let's lay out a concrete, step-by-step plan to help you, the listener, maybe regain some control and find some clarity.
Okay. The first step, and honestly, maybe the most important one, is having that goals of care conversation directly with your father. If he's able to communicate his wishes, that is absolutely paramount.
Make you even start that conversation. It feels so heavy.
Gently. You might say something like, Dad, the doctors have given us a lot to think about, and I just want to make absolutely sure that whatever happens, we're respecting your wishes.
Yeah.
What's most important to you right now? Or maybe, when you think about the future, Dad, what does a good day really look like to you? His answers, those are your North Star. Your job as his advocate is really to amplify his voice.
His voice is the North Star. I like that. Okay, that's step one, essential. What comes next once you have that hopefully clearer understanding of his wishes?
Step 2, schedule a formal family meeting with the medical team. And I mean formal, not just catching the doctor in the hallway for 2 minutes.
Right. Dedicated time.
Exactly. Request a specific meeting. With the oncologist, yes, but also ask if a palliative care specialist and maybe a social worker can be there too. They bring different, valuable perspectives.
Okay, and what do you do in that meeting?
In that meeting, you present your father's goals of care. Clearly. You could say, Dad has told us that, above all else, he really wants to be comfortable and, if possible, at home. Start there.
Okay. And when you're in that meeting, how do you ask the tough questions? The ones to get real answers, but maybe without sounding like you're attacking them, especially if you're already feeling like they're giving up.
That's key. Use clarifying, non-confrontational questions. So instead of blurting out, why are you giving up on him? Which is understandable, but maybe not productive.
Right.
Try something like, Could you please walk me through the specific medical reasons, the data perhaps, that makes you feel that more treatment would be more burdensome than beneficial right now?
Okay, asking for the why behind the recommendation.
Yes. Or, if we do continue with treatment X, what's the best case scenario look like for Dad's day-to-day life? What's the worst case? And realistically, what's the most likely scenario?
Getting concrete about possibility.
Exactly. And ask the same about hospice. If we choose hospice care, what would his day-to-day life look like then? Who exactly would be involved? Where would he get this care? Don't hesitate to ask if there are any other options you haven't discussed. Clinical trials, less aggressive treatments maybe. You could even ask, if this was your father facing these same circumstances, what would you be most concerned about right now? Sometimes that personalizes it and opens up the conversation.
Those are really powerful practical questions. Okay, step 3 you mentioned is, if you haven't already, ask for a palliative care consultation. Now, it's crucial, you said, to understand palliative care is not the same as hospice. Can you clarify that difference again for us?
Absolutely. This is a really common point of confusion, but it's so important. Palliative care is specialized medical care focused on providing relief. Relief from the symptoms, the pain, the stress of a serious illness.
Oh, symptom relief, like hospice.
Yes, but here's the key difference. Palliative care can be provided at the same time as curative treatment.
Okay.
So unlike hospice, which generally comes into play when curative options are no longer the goal or are too burdensome, palliative care can run alongside chemo, radiation, surgery, whatever active treatment is happening.
So getting that comfort in symptom management without feeling like you're abandoning active treatment, that sounds incredibly valuable. A bridge, almost.
It truly is. Think of it as an extra layer of support. A palliative care team, they're experts not just in symptom management, but also in communication. They can be that bridge between you, the family, and the oncology team. They can help manage symptoms while you're still weighing difficult treatment options. And they are excellent, really excellent at facilitating those difficult goals of care conversations we talked about.
So it's a way to get those benefits of comfort-focused care without feeling like you've somehow given up on treatment.
Precisely. It can be a really helpful step, especially when things feel uncertain or conflicted.
Okay. And finally, step 4, reevaluating the second opinion. We hear you, listener, if you felt like the first second opinion maybe just seemed like a colleague backing up a friend.
Yeah.
How do you get a truly independent review?
Yeah, that's a valid concern sometimes. To ensure a truly independent review, try to seek that second opinion from a physician at a completely different institution, ideally maybe an academic medical center or an NCI-designated comprehensive cancer center if possible.
Why those specifically?
These are generally top-tier research hospitals recognized for really cutting-edge cancer care. They often have multidisciplinary teams and might offer perspectives or trials not available everywhere else. They're less likely to have close personal ties to the original physician.
Okay. Different system, fresh eyes. And how should you frame the question when you go for that second opinion?
This is critical. Don't frame it as, tell me, should my father get hospice, yes or no?
Right.
Instead, frame it around the goals you establish. Say, here's my father's complete medical history, and here are his stated goals of care, comfort, being home, etc. Given all of that, what are all the available options that could potentially help us meet those goals?
Framing it around achieving his goals, not just hospice yes, no.
Exactly. It makes the consultation about finding the best path forward based on his values, rather than just getting a rubber stamp on a previous recommendation.
This brings us to something really important, which is the communication itself. We focused a lot on the daughter's perspective, her action plan. But it's also vital to recognize the challenges the medical team faces in these conversations too. What's one of the biggest hurdles they often run into?
Oh, definitely. One major hurdle is what you might call the warrior or the fighter mindset that families often adopt, and understandably so.
The battle metaphor.
Yes. They see this whole experience as a battle against the disease, maybe even against the medical system itself sometimes. And so any suggestion of comfort care, like hospice, can be perceived as a betrayal or weakness, or like the team is telling them to stop fighting.
And for the medical team trying to communicate, how do you navigate that really powerful metaphor without just dismissing it, which would obviously shut down the conversation?
Yeah, you can't just dismiss it. The solution isn't to directly confront that metaphor head-on. It's often more effective to actually co-opt it, to work with it.
Co-opt it.
Instead of letting fighting only mean pursuing every aggressive, potentially toxic treatment, you reframe it. You might say something like, fighting for your father right now means fighting for his dignity. fighting for his comfort, fighting to honor his wishes, fighting to make sure his pain is managed, maybe a 0 out of 10, fighting to get him home from the hospital if that's his goal. That is the toughest and maybe the most important fight of all right now.
So you honor the fighter identity, but gently shift the objective of the fight.
Exactly. It acknowledges their feeling, their drive, but redirects the energy towards achievable, comfort-oriented goals that align with where things likely are medically.
Okay. Another really common challenge, hinted at in this scenario, is that deep-seated mistrust. The comment about the second opinion just backing up a friend, that reveals a belief that maybe the system is just self-serving, or doctors stick together. How can that be overcome?
That's tough. Trust is so fundamental. To try and overcome that, radical transparency and empowerment are really key. First, sometimes you have to acknowledge the system can be flawed or difficult. You might say, I understand why you might feel that way. Healthcare can be incredibly complex and frustrating to navigate. Validate the feeling.
Acknowledge it.
Then give the family agency. Ask them, what questions do you want to make sure we address in our next meeting? Let's put them on the agenda. And use visuals, use data. Show them the scans, explain the blood work simply, maybe even draw diagrams. Make the medical reasoning visible, concrete, not just words.
Make it transparent. Okay. We also often see, I imagine, just immense anticipatory grief and guilt playing out.
Okay.
Maybe the anger and frustration are really masks for profound sadness, fear, maybe guilt about decisions. Agreeing to hospice could feel, to that daughter, like she's personally responsible for her dad dying or that she didn't fight hard enough. That emotional weight must make rational decision-making almost impossible.
It absolutely does. It's a huge burden. The solution here really requires emotional attunement from the team. A doctor, a nurse, a social worker needs to try and act as an emotional mirror.
An emotional mirror.
Yeah, gently naming what they might be seeing or hearing. This sounds like an impossibly painful position for you to be in, or it sounds like you're carrying a huge weight of responsibility for these decisions right now. Naming the emotion can sometimes lessen its power. Normalize it. It's okay to feel this way.
Validate the feeling, don't dismiss it.
Right. And reframe her role. Reassure her that loving someone deeply means honoring their journey, wherever it leads, not trying to control an outcome that might be uncontrollable. Try to shift the focus from feeling like it's a decision to stop something, to framing it as a decision to start something new, a phase of care focused entirely on love, presence, and ensuring comfort. Providing comfort is a profound act of love, never an act of failure.
That's beautifully put. Providing comfort is an act of love. Okay, and finally, there's that challenge of, well, confusing the messenger with the message, right? When someone's getting devastating news, they might direct their anger about the cancer, about the prognosis, right at the medical team who had to deliver that news.
Yes, the shoot the messenger phenomenon, it happens.
Yeah. So every interaction can become charged, confrontational, because they start to associate the team with the bad news itself. How do medical teams approach that effectively?
This really requires a unified front and very consistent messaging from the whole team. It's crucial that the oncologist, the primary nurse, the social worker, the palliative care team, if they're involved, everyone needs to be delivering the same core message, ideally framed in that same goals of care language we discussed.
Why is consistency so vital there?
Because inconsistency breeds mistrust. If the daughter hears slightly different things or different tones from different team members, it feeds into that feeling that maybe nobody really knows, or maybe someone isn't being straight with her.
Got it. Unified front.
And always lead with empathy before launching into any medical updates. Start with, how have things been for you and your dad since we last spoke? Connect human to human first. And use communication models like ask, tell, ask.
Ask, tell, ask.
Yeah. Ask what they currently understand about the situation. Then tell them a small, clear piece of new information, just one key point. Then ask again, what are your thoughts on that? Or how does that land with you? It turns a lecture into a dialogue. It allows for pauses, for questions, for real-time emotional processing. Much more effective.
That makes so much sense. Okay. So what does this all mean? Taking a step back from this deep dive, we've really explored how to shift away from that binary, that trap of fight versus give up, and move towards asking, what are our goals for Dad's life, right here, right now? We've worked to clarify that hospice isn't usually a place. It's a philosophy of care. It's a set of services. It focuses on expert symptom management, often delivered right at home, and provide crucial support, not just for the patient, but for the whole family.
Yep.
And remember that powerful paradox that sometimes, because of that focus on quality of life and symptom relief, Some patients actually live longer, and certainly better, on hospice.
It's true.
We also gave you those concrete action steps. First, have that vital goals of care conversation with your loved one, if possible. Let their voice be your guide. Second, schedule that formal family meeting with the medical team, including palliative care. Third, seek out that palliative care consult. Specifically, remember, it can run alongside treatment. And fourth, if needed, get a truly independent second opinion, framing the question around achieving those goals of care.
A solid plan.
Our real hope here is that by turning that feeling of powerlessness into purposeful action, you can transform potential conflict into collaboration, into purpose.
Wow.
Making sure that your loved one's final chapter, however long it may be, is written according to their values, with dignity, with comfort, and surrounded by love.
Beautifully summarized. And maybe if we connect this to the bigger picture, thinking beyond this specific scenario, this deep dive kind of raises an important question for all of us to consider, doesn't it?
Oh, what's that?
When we are faced with life's ultimate decisions, for ourselves or for others, how do we truly shift our definition of living well? How do we move from only thinking about extending time, extending the quantity of days, to really focusing on maximizing the quality of moments? Moments of dignity, moments of comfort, and moments of connection.